Welcome back. This is the GR-MiFi Creator Cast. I'm your host, David Benoit, and we got another new guest in the building. We have a wonderful woman by the name of
Faith Hudson.
Say it again.
Faith Hudson.
Say it one more time.
Faith Hudson.
Loud and proud. Oh, hear that?
Three's the charm.
We got a beautiful, young, talented woman, black woman. You know, fist high. We're also joined by a returning guest,
Joel Quinones.
yes, the wonderful voice actor and actor. And I feel like you're a low-key a comedian.
Actually, bro, I mean,
I feel like you're low-key.
comedy is such a difficult thing to get into. You really gotta have nerves of steel that I do not possess. So
We'll get you there. We'll get you there. We're actually gonna have a comedy night here.
I
for
might
open- for-
give it a go
for beginners.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna do.
I might need to work on some material.
Yeah, get on that.
Yeah.
But you're not the main subject of today.
Absolutely not.
So just a little bit.
Right.
Sidebars.
I know.
A little bit. Got a woman in here.
Amen.
Thank you, Faith, for coming in to GR-MiFi.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You've been here once before. I don't think I gave you the full tour, technically, before. Yeah. But Faith, can you tell people a little bit about yourself? What do you do creatively? And let's just start there.
Well, my name is Faith Hudson. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I attend Grand Valley State University. I'm in my third year, going to my fourth year. It's been a journey getting there.
Sorry, y'all. That was me. All right, keep going.
Creatively, I do a lot of writing, collaborative writing. I want to be a screenwriter, and I also picked up a minor in theater at the beginning of this school year. So I've been acting a little bit.
Okay.
A little acting a little bit. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so what made you want to pick up the theater major?
I worked on a production last year for a class, and I was director.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I also wrote the script. So
a minute.
Right, clap it up.
See, black woman magical. Look, keep going.
So, so working on that production, I found it was my first time being director, so I was extremely nervous. I feel like I did decent, but I found it kind of hard to direct performances out of my actors, kind of just like speak that language with them. And I spoke to my film advisor about it, because I don't want to just have that weakness. I want to work on it. And he instructed like, hey, you should probably pick up acting. You can put yourself in their shoes and kind of like go through their steps and their emotions, and maybe you'll be able. And I found it's been really helpful. I think
that's
it's
amazing.
even helping my writing a lot. So yeah.
That's good. No, that's amazing. That's amazing foresight. I feel like I tried to do the same thing when I decided to create my own video production company. You know, I was like, all right, let me figure out how to do every bit of piece, because like you said, you have to know the language. You know, the language of a producer. You know, the language of a director, the DP, your actors, and stuff like that. And so
I feel like people kind of respect you more. When you kind of know what you're talking about, and not really, because when you don't know what you're talking about, because I probably sounded crazy to my actors, they're like, that's impossible.
I need you to be more sad.
Right. And
like I don't know, you just
change your body, just do something different.
Do it differently. I don't care.
Yeah. But just don't do less of that, but then do it a different way. You know, you want to have that vocabulary, and that's amazing. What would say? So you're a writer, and so how long have you been writing?
Wow, that's crazy. I've never been asked that before. I've been writing since I can remember. I come from a family of writers and readers. It kind of started, like I said, when I was a kid. My sister had this really old computer when she was in college, and when she finally went off to college, she gave the laptop to me and my sisters. I have 8 sisters.
Oh wow, you're a big family. That's crazy. Okay.
I have a twin brother as well. So
that's awesome.
When she gave us that old computer, we'd all take like an hour writing stories on it.
Oh wow.
And it started as like this little just jokey thing at first, but then we kind of like created our fake writers room, and we'd edit each other's stories.
That's dope.
And
that is awesome.
Yeah.
That
and
is
so
dope. Okay.
I've been writing since then.
Does that laptop still exist?
Absolutely.
Oh,
There's
is it
gotta
work?
be
It's like a
gold
family
on that
heirloom.
thing,
I don't know if it works, but I gotta.
Oh, you gotta.
Yeah, you gotta
You gotta
get
bring
it
that
going.
here.
You gotta
I'll
crack
help
it
you.
open.
You got to catalog all that.
Absolutely. I'm going home this weekend, so yeah.
Yeah, if you need help like getting that stuff off, or if it's not
Yeah.
working, like
For sure.
we got all the tech gurus here.
Oh, I love
so,
that.
like, but I'm a big proponent of like archiving,
Yeah.
especially the things that you make when you're young. Because
Yeah.
unfortunately, like I have all these drawings. I had like hundreds and hundreds of drawings that my mom just threw away for whatever reason.
no.
And I just think about like, man, I wish I could go back and look at that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it definitely it shows a lot of development. I know when I was writing with my sisters, a lot of our stories, especially during that YPad era. So a lot of our stories were definitely like whitewashed, and so like we'd write a lot about like white characters because that's all we'd read. Like we'd
Right.
read stories like Twilight, Divergent,
Right.
and all these dystopians and supernatural stuff and just fictional stuff that non-fictional stuff that we were reading, and we didn't really see a lot of people or like think how do I say this?
You didn't think to put yourselves in
Put
that.
yourself in it because we're already consuming all these stories that are not for that people don't like us.
They don't write for us in mind that are not
Yeah.
just one note characters or anything like
Yeah,
that.
and like looking back on that, it's definitely changed in my writing because now that I've kind of grown up, I definitely try to incorporate more me into people that look like me in our stories because they are important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's amazing. Like, so, and Joel, feel free to ask any questions, anything that pop in mind. Were some of your biggest, I heard Twilight, what were some of the biggest like influences of your writing? Because it sounds like you also read a lot.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. So let me think. One of the biggest influences of my writing, I would definitely say my sister's writing.
Oh, it's amazing.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
When it comes to writing, everything that I write now I owe to her. Because when I used to write dumb shit.
Hey, I love it. Pay
Like-
homage.
Yeah, man.
Like, well, she walked into a room, explosion. Like it was, but like
Yeah.
having her kind of, and she went to school for writing, so having her kind of break it down and being like, hey, you need to do it this way instead of this way, or we're not. Like there needs to be detail coming into. I need more fleshed out characters from you, and kind of just like that mini writers room. It kind of became like this thing for us, and we'd always just be there for each other. So
That's awesome. So does your sister have a career in writing currently now?
she doesn't. She passed away this summer.
I'm sorry about
Well,
that.
I'm sorry. That past summer. So she does not.
She does
To
not.
answer your question.
Yeah.
But we still kept all her stories that
That's
she used to
amazing.
write,
Man.
and we're working on this production right now. It's going to be called The Leeway, where we kind of make this library of like all of her stories, even the unfinished ones, to just be like, not every story needs to be finished,
Right.
or we're not. So we're
Right.
calling it The Leeway. Kind of like when you put something on leeway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so
That's smart.
beautiful. That's one of those things that's interesting. I feel like, so, thinking about like creatively, what do you do with the people that you love, like their creative works? And that's something that's been in conversation a lot, especially with like a lot of these different rappers who died.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
it's
like-
been a crazy period. So many people just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of like, for the 90s babies, like the DMX, like how their families like handling
How they handle
pieces
it, yeah.
of work. DMX is still being featured in songs
Yeah.
technically.
absolutely.
I believe there's somebody's about to release an album soon that has Joyner Lucas has a song with a DMX feature in that, and it's like, okay, I feel like some families handle it better than others in the sense of like, like I would say Mac Miller's family
Yeah.
does an amazing job. He had an album that I think that's maybe released like within the last year or two of some of his work, but like it's kind of cool too, because in the sense of just like thinking about as an artist, right, we create these things
Absolutely.
and a lot of it stays in this locked box. We only show people like 1%
Yeah.
of what we
Absolutely.
make, and it's amazing just to think that you are able to continue to share the life that your sister
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
the spirit lives on.
yeah,
in
absolutely.
that way.
Yeah, I think that's honestly one of my biggest fears is like forgetting her one day. So me and my family do a lot to just honor her memory and because writing was her biggest passion of ours. I think she was like more into like writing than all of us were. So and I definitely think it's just important to make stories, real stories of your own, because I feel like a lot in the filmmaking scenery we get too wrapped up in like trying to make these crazy Hollywood films, and not really these films that are like important to people, because a lot of people can, because grief is such a huge thing and so many people, and it affects people differently. Like it affects different ethnicities differently. Grief is going to affect Black people differently. It's going to affect it's going to affect people differently. So I think having stories like that and being able to put that out there, it's going to create this space, a safe space for other people to be like, oh, hey, this is how I dealt with my grief, or watching this or something like that. So
yeah, I feel like we're definitely, I would say Hollywood at its mecca is behind. I mean, we still have like some indie films that come out and then they raise their ranks, and there are some film studios that are doing really good at like bringing up different themes. Yeah. Right. And like, but I like recently I think about like, do you guys watch any like Korean or Japanese films? There's a lot of like really amazing Japanese and Korean films that have been rising up and becoming super popular that deal with love and grief and all these other things. Or family issues. Like I immediately think about, I don't know if you guys have heard of a movie called Past Lives.
Oh no, I haven't.
Past Lives is just this amazing. It's more of a romantic thing, but it also kind of like, I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's just such an amazing show. But I feel like Korea and Japan has been like winning a lot, and they're getting a lot of recognition, especially now in Hollywood with like the different like Parasite and
those were,
you know, this is not a Korean made or Japanese movie, but it includes these characters in their stories, like Everywhere, Everything, All at Once.
That was dope. I seen that one. That was so good.
And like, that one was so good. These movies that have these, like, they might have kind of like outlandish concepts, but they're at their core, they're family dramas.
They have that narrative there, those narratives, and I think that's one thing that, it's one of my main goals that I feel like as the Black community we need to extend on, is because I feel like in the Black community we like to keep things hush hush or not, like, oh, don't talk about that in front of them or something like that.
That's grown folk business,
right? Stuff like, even like these little sayings in like the Black community, and I feel like if we had, this is a lot too close to me.
That's fine, you're good.
But I feel like if we had that outlet, because I feel like we have so many stories in the Black community and so much unhealed trauma that just kind of gets swept under the rug. And I get when people are like, oh, we don't want to continue to see these Black trauma stories, but at the same time, history is just going to keep repeating itself if we don't talk about these stories.
You have to embrace these stories. You have to embrace them and tell it in our own ways.
Absolutely. Because it doesn't have to be all trauma, because telling that story, but also having that celebration of being Black, of what that means, is so important, and they go hand in hand. So if a story does have that, why not tell that story?
You know, and that's a great segue to a film that we worked on a couple weeks ago. Patrice's film. We have a friend, Patrice. I don't think I've interviewed him here quite yet, but he's been here multiple times. And I love that, to hear that you just bring that up, just because I think we both equally believed in the idea of what that film was. Absolutely. And so, can you tell the audience and Joelle a little bit about Songs from the Sky and your role in it, and like, how did you feel about the script as a writer, and how it evolved? Because just to give Joelle a little bit of context,
absolutely.
I met Joelle came in as a creator in the same way he got invited into a space on a Monday, our video production club, and he just told us that he's working on this film. He has his thesis, and you know, we embraced him, you know, and he wanted to make a film. And during that process of him coming, his script wasn't, I wouldn't say all the way there yet. I think it was like 70% there. In the sense of the concept that he wanted to kind of convey. Right. But I feel like working through us and me believing in what he was doing, and then also meeting like you and everybody that was around it, I feel like the script got better over time. And by the time that we shot it, it just was.
And when you say script, we're talking about like the dialogue, all that stuff
Dialogue,
was
yeah.
already okay. Bad.
Yeah, so he already had the foundations lined up, but there was like some things, and I want, because now I'll pass the baton to you, because you had a very important role and you got very intimate with the script, and I feel like I got intimate with script because I created the storyboard. So like, just talk about
absolutely
the film, the premise, your role, and how did you feel about the script when it changed over time?
Yeah, absolutely. So my role in Pat's script, I started off as just the script supervisor, but then Pat asked me to be the casting director, so I got to get really close and personal with our actors, who were amazing. Did such an amazing job, by the way.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's the one that you recently posted.
Yeah, the one that you saw on my stories.
Yeah.
So shout out to Portia Claire May.
Yeah, just two beautiful souls and just so fun to work with. But so when Pat first approached me with the script, he just wanted me to read it. And he was just like, hey, can you read my script? I just want to get your thoughts on it. And reading the script, I was just immediately moved by it. Not by the period, but just by the relationship dynamic between the mom and the daughter. Mm-hmm. And when the script started out, it was more of like taking a shot, like throwing shots at Christianity and how it has to pertain to Black people or not. Because as we know, Christianity, well, not everybody knows this, Christianity used to be a vessel to justify slavery against Black people. So I definitely understood that, but I feel like Pat, when he was texting, we were talking, he was just like, I want to focus more on the relationship of this mother and the daughter. How can I do that or not? And seeing the script progress over time, I really started to get intimate with the script because it reminded me a lot of my relationship with my mom. So the script focuses on Phyllis and the daughter Cecilia, and the barrier between Phyllis and Cecilia is Christianity. And Phyllis wants to connect with her daughter Cecilia, but she has this Christianity in the way of that, and it's really just splitting their relationship like down the middle. And I really resonated with that because over the summer I kind of fell out with my mom over the summer because I came out to her as queer, and that did not go over well. And over the summer I just kind of like went barely any contact with my mom. But as I was moving in, my mom kind of drove down, and she's just like crying and just like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry for letting my belief or just my opinions get in our relationship. She's like, I don't want to be like everyone else and not have a relationship with you, especially since I just lost my other daughter. And reading the script, after it changed over time, and just seeing how our character Phyllis really just wanted to, just seeing that her daughter was trying so hard to connect with her and she's kind of just shutting her down, and seeing her make that leap, even though there's so many unknowns, seeing her make that leap to connect with her daughter despite everything else that's going on was just, it was beautiful.
Man, that's dope.
Oh man, that's crazy, because like I'm so glad to hear that, because like, just because, you know, I got intimate with the script on my own, and you know, I really wanted the script to reach the heights that it really where I know Patrice wanted it to go. And just hearing your perspective, one, as a Black woman, right, and you connecting that, because that's the thing I never even thought about, in the sense, like, like literally, like you coming out queer to your mother, like, you know, her troubles with that stems in Christian religion. You probably so your family is Christian?
Yeah, my family. Oh yeah, super
Christian. yeah.
Super good. And I think that was another thing that me and Patrice were kind of talking about, is that not to demonize Christianity, because it is a beautiful thing. It's someone's belief system. But I think we're talking about the ramification that Christianity has had for Black people specifically or not, and it hasn't been good ramification. It's caused a lot of divide in the Black community. And we're not trying to demonize Black people for following Christianity, but because during that, which is why the script is set in that time period, because that was a question that Pat got a lot. Like, why is this script set in it? Why can't you just focus on the relationship? And the reason why it's set in that is because Christianity at that time is what's causing this divide. And
it started.
So it's what we're saying. And again, not to demonize, but to say that Phyllis...
Keep going. You're fine. They can't hear
to
us.
create, really to see, also just see Phyllis's side, because they're both the main characters. So for Phyllis, Christianity really served as like this beacon of hope, and not just for Phyllis, but the black people at that time. That was all to get through what they were going through. That's what they had to cling to. So, and especially in that prayer scene, that's why that prayer scene hits so hard. Or not, is because that is all that black people knew at that time. That is how they got through, and it's why she's just like, Phyllis is just so scared to connect with her daughter, and because her daughter hasn't adapted to what's going on in that environment, or not. So yeah, I just fell in love with the script. So that's
awesome.
why when he asked me to be script supervisor, and I was like, yeah,
bet, let's go. So give our audience a little bit more context in Joelle. So the period of the piece is set during the slave era, right? And I mean, you might have picked it up from what Faith was saying, but just got to spell out for some people. But like that was one of the things. When we brought the script here, it was almost a challenging perspective for our team as well. Well, and I wouldn't say necessarily for me, because I just like, one of my biggest things about GR-MiFi is that I want this to be a safe place for Black and brown people to bring their ideas.
Absolutely.
Right.
Whether we agreed on whether we want to work on them or not, that was one of the things that, our leadership, he's making current stories on Black. He's making a current and past historical stories of Black people, but he wants to make sure it's a positive, a positive story, and we're not dwelling on the past. He doesn't want, one of the things too, we don't want to make stories about victims necessarily too much anymore. So I understand like the collective consciousness of Black people, and when it comes to media consumption, is like we don't even want to think about slave stories anymore. Like, so it's like we're over it, right? So they just we want to see us in spaceships. We want to see us, superheroes. Yeah. We want to like
doing more of the cool shit that all white people do.
Yeah.
Right? Like
So it was a big conversation as to if we could support a project like that here in GR-MiFi. And so that was something that I fought for as their creative director very hard.
Absolutely.
And also I talked to Patrice on a daily basis. I was just like, hey man, like I believe in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You have good intentions. The script is good. Like I think we got to work on it a little bit more, but he knew that he came in being honest, like, hey, like this is what I want to do. Lynn brought him in. And so, when people come here, like I really want everyone to know that like, I understand how hard creativity is. And when you're vulnerable with showing somebody something that you spent time by yourself.
That is your baby. You're
That's
just
your
baby.
baby.
Do you like my baby?
Yeah, I don't want somebody to come up to me, oh, your baby ugly.
You got 2 eyes too close together.
You know what I mean? Like that makes them feel some type of way. If I brought my baby, somebody was like, ew,
absolutely,
your baby cross-eyed.
And it's completely understandable because I also feel the same way. I feel like we need to have more stories, because we are capable, because when we only tell stories about Black trauma, it does cast us in this one light, and we're capable of so much more. Like we can be vampires and supernatural and do a lot of other stuff, but like I said, a lot of our trauma and a lot of our unhealed, everything that's unhealed stems from slavery. We're still suffering the ramifications, and I like that Pat's script didn't necessarily focus on the slavery part, but more of like that relationship. And I think that's one of the main things of why his film worked.
No, 100%. And, and it was one of those things, as I worked on the storyboard, like I was, at first, normally I would just think like, okay, I'll just take these shots, but like every time I was drawing something, I was like, I would call him. Next thing you know, we having, our conversations on each frame and each thing and each word that was said. And
because it's so deep.
It's so deep. And so you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
When is this going to be out? When is this going to be?
It's currently being edited.
It's going to be out for the showcase. So
by the end of this month, technically.
Yeah, by the end of this month. I think because the semester ends on like the 27th, so it's going to be out. The showcase is the 25th or 26th.
I want to watch that, man.
Yeah. So
and I want to see the actor. Clara.
Claire.
I want to see if she remembers me. She was one of the first people that I met when I moved up here to Michigan. She was like the third person I met.
Bird? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. The funny thing is that, so we actually, I don't know if we told you this. We're planning to have a podcast.
Oh, really?
With all of them. So I want
that's gonna be
Patrice,
awesome.
Lynn, you.
That's gonna be
Bro,
awesome.
let me
And
just
then-
take pictures.
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, you could be
Awesome.
there for
Yeah,
sure.
dude, that'd be
And you know, we want the actors to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know, if we can't make it happen, of course we can like Zoom call or
Mm-hmm.
web chat. Portia down. We have the technical abilities to do all that stuff. But I want to talk about that film and how it was created from the beginning, and everybody who was a part of it.
Absolutely. That's
you
going to
know.
be amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like even like compared, because we did like a 3-day shoot with Friday to Sunday.
Yep.
Even just like seeing how everyone's body language kind of changed, like really seeing this story kind of come to life is just like, you know, we really just started to get into it. Like, oh, wait a second. Let's go back on that. Let's lower the lighting. And actually I seen a couple of photos after. It looks amazing. So I'm excited.
I mean, just from what you showed,
yeah.
I was like, man, that's gonna look so crisp.
Oh, man.
Like, not from a phone onto the, computer screen. Like, actually, man.
Actually, that thing is like, this is
gonna look
technically
really
my first DP director of photography debut. My debut, my first DP debut for narrative films. I feel like I've been doing DPing for years, just not with actual narrative film.
You did great.
Thank
And
you.
like when I say like I really came to, for specifically you, like I really saw you kind of just like you were really in your element, especially when it came to the basement scene, which is the core of the film. You were really getting into it. Like, wait, I think maybe she should look over, or like maybe if I bring this shot down a little bit. So you're really getting into it. So, and I don't know, it really makes me happy when I really see just like so much creativity going on and people working towards this one goal, beautiful goal. And
Right.
I think we knocked it out the park.
I think we definitely did.
Yeah.
I can't wait to show everybody.
Yeah.
Man, I
I'm
can't wait to see
excited.
it. It's gonna be
Yeah.
dope.
Oh man. So, you know, so first of all, just first impressions of GR-MiFi, what you've been able to interact with the people, the space. What do you think about everything so far?
Honestly, I think it's amazing, honestly, because like I've gone to PWIs, not even just university, but just predominantly white institutes in general, like all through middle school, elementary, high school, and college. And just being here and seeing so many people of color in one space who share the same passion as me, and not even just like the passion of like filmmaking, but like acting or anything that goes into creativity is just awesome. Because a lot of we're not that far when it comes to, there's not a lot of us when it comes to that film industry.
Yeah, we are usually
Yeah.
the minority on sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even just being in this space, again, just so many people of color, just being human beings, being creative. And it's awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
I think this is really beautiful what you're creating here. And even if it may seem like small now, because I know you said we only have like 25 people.
that kind of, yeah.
But you know, when you have so many, just like 25 people, when you have so many people working towards one goal, like an overarching goal, because I'm pretty sure there's like a lot of mini subcategories, but of one overarching goal of just telling narrative stories about their personal experiences and just about their life. So you're gonna get somewhere with that. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you like this, everything that's been presented so far. Like this place is my baby. So,
Yes.
it's not something that I thought I would be doing, but I'm glad that I am here, and I'm glad to have you here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And so, like, before I'm gonna ask you a little bit more, I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions. So, obviously you like writing. I know, this is for the audience. This is for for Joelle. Like, what are some of your other passions and what are the things that you like to enjoy? What creative works do you really like?
Creative works. I like drawing a lot. I just got into drawing.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just got into drawing.
Wait, how long you been drawing for?
I've only been drawing since the beginning of this school year. So
You're good. Coming from a person who's been drawing their whole life, you're good.
I wish.
That's crazy.
But no, I just really got into it over. It it was for a class, and I hated it at first because I was just like, oh my God, this is so hard. And how do you just draw? I was like, okay, you just need a talent for drawing because this is crazy. But as I was like really getting it, it just started with like simple stuff, just like 3D, like bringing these real life drawings. Like I could draw that couch probably. But really just getting into it, just like, it's kind of like it aligns with like filmmaking. You know, it's something that you're creating, and there's different steps that you have to take to get to this end product. So
most likely, no, 100%. Like drawing is a great metaphor for filmmaking because there's like one, it just takes patience.
There's so much you have to do, so much that's unknown. Like somebody can draw a circle, but like, bro, that's a circle.
It's
that's
like
not a ball.
Like, it's like, it's so perfect.
Like, it doesn't have dimension yet. Like, there's shadowing. There's this.
Literally.
And you have to like draw lightly here, but you're gonna erase that later. You're gonna erase that later. That doesn't stay there. Like that whole idea, people don't see that. Just like people don't see.
They don't see all the
production. They don't see.
You sound exactly like my professor. He would just be like, he used to call me, you're one of the needy ones in the relationship, because I would commit to like the drawing really early. And I don't know, that kind of taught me a little something. He was like, you don't need to commit this early. It's okay to make mistakes in this drawing. And he was like, he was getting kind of deep on the side. He was like, not just like in this drawing, but just in life, you know, let this be your life. Just draw.
See, that's beautiful.
Right, and I was like,
beautiful.
Oh, wait,
that's
just dropping life knowledge.
That's what I needed in my earlier. That's what I needed in my earlier drawing careers, because that is the same thing. Like literally, because when you want
it to be perfect, because you're gonna, again, it's like what you were saying earlier, when you're creating something and you're gonna present it to someone. So when I was drawing, I was like all in, drawing dark, like, okay, I need to make this good for this. And you know, just hearing that,
just heavy handed with love.
You're gonna get this love or not. But after hearing that, I kind of really started to relax, and my drawing didn't improve dramatically, but it's about, how do I say that? Just hearing that, it really kind of just gave me a new outlook, not just on drawing, but just like life in general. And it doesn't just change automatically. Things like that take time, but it's about taking those steps or not. So drawing is a small hobby I'm getting into. One of my main hobbies, it's kind of embarrassing to say, I'm a content creator.
Don't be. No. What you mean? We
like everybody. This is what this place is.
We all content. What do you mean you get embarrassed? That's like that's literally. We all got that.
I don't like saying like, oh, I'm a TikToker, I make TikToks or not. But I make a lot of content. I also do a lot of marketing for other people.
That's
people
cool.
Kind of like reach out to me like, hey, can you promote let's say like this facial cream or this perfume, or I'm really big on anime and things that have to deal with oral care.
Anime gang.
So and I've been doing content creation for about 2020. So I've been doing it for a while.
Okay.
So it's pretty fun. Like I think that's kind of where
you got some funny TikToks. I watch them. They're fun. You got some funny ones.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But and that's kind of how I kind of got into acting per se. I used to make a lot of skits at first, and that's what I first started out with TikTok with. And then I kind of I still make skits on there, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Don't be embarrassed by that. Literally,
absolutely not.
I think we're all groomed I mean, it's since Instagram probably became a thing, we all been groomed to be content creators.
That's
everywhere you look, it's content creation going on.
I had a question. What would you say is your like bread and butter with writing? Like if you're like for instance, like the script that you're working on, like what comes easiest to you as far as like the genre? Is it like a thriller, or is it like a thought-provoking movie? Like what or, you know, like what would you say?
That's a really interesting question. I would say what's like my bread and butter. I would say, is that a genre? I write a lot of narratives that have to deal with like real life.
Okay.
That's kind of like, so this piece I'm working on right now, it has to pertain to my sister. It's a grief piece. So it's basically about, well, it's me in the story.
Right.
It's basically about how her life was with her sister, and then how grief came and kind of just made the world kind of gray for her. And I write a lot of stories like that. I think the script, I'm going to bring that on Monday.
Oh, I would love to. I'd love to hear it.
And that one has to deal with another Black story about a Black family.
Okay.
Or not. So I guess I write a lot of family.
So like family dramas.
Family drama stuff.
Yeah.
Family dramas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's awesome. I
it.
like that a lot.
Well, if you ever need an actor.
Absolutely. Actually, I think you'd be perfect for one of my characters.
Sick.
So that's the thing. I would love to do more script reads, and like I said, we're supposed to do our screenwriting club. And so the thing is like as I was kind of mentioning before, like I would say 5 o'clock, we like to interview new people, do the creator cast, and then like 6 is official time where people make announcements, talk about things they're working on, things they're excited. Also, because I want to make time for people to also celebrate people, what they're working on,
Absolutely.
right? And then 7, 6:30 to 7, like breakout. So I want people working. I want
6:30.
Yeah.
6:30. I want to be doing stuff.
yeah. So like that's the other thing. Yeah, I want 6:30. Literally, I want us to be working.
Absolutely.
Like and the thing is like I think that's a great way to start your Monday, right? So Monday could be a drag sometimes. You know what I mean?
It's
So but
usually
so it's
a
great
drag,
to
bro.
have
so
at
like
the start of the week.
you get to see your homies.
Right.
Right, and then you start, then y'all like excited, working on stuff at the same time,
bro. And that last week after doing that monologue, bro, like
you were energized
all week. I was thinking in his accent, bro. Like all week was just, I was getting pissed off at coworkers, and I was just what? Don't you fucking tell me that again. Like, bro, I was so him that week, bro. It was dope. It made me feel like, you know what?
That.
Like if I really want to prepare, like, cause I've never done that, bro. Like I've never done what I did there. I hate reading things for the first time. Like I can't, because I'm super dyslexic. I can't read something for the first, like it's gotta be like,
dyslexic
it's like I'm reading a random list of words, bro. So like, even just doing what I did in front of you guys helped so much when I was alone by myself, bro. The confidence that was built in that week of just working on this one thing, that was the first time that I truly felt like I was an actor in any type of capacity. Was from that, bro. So that was
right. Get some claps for that.
That was clutch to just be here. Like that's what happened last week was precisely what I was looking for in this. It was really dope.
Bro, thank you for like reporting in and letting me know that, because that's really what creativity kind of starts. Like, if you guys don't know, I produce multiple podcasts, but there's a podcast that I produce called The Goats. We record it like once a month. But we had our guest was the museum director for the Graham. The Graham is Art Museum, and she said she was talking about. So she's actually had a TED Talk too. She has a TED Talk.
Oh wow!
So this woman, like, she was just dropping gems the whole time, and it was just so funny because, like, because it's funny because, like, just imagine right now, like, we're in a podcast setting. Right. Everyone, like, there's 4 people, so everyone's trying to like add a little bit to the conversation.
Right.
But the woman was just spitting so many gems.
Everyone's just silent or just like
locked in. Literally, like I got videos of everybody just. I was like, dang, everybody, we all locked in, like, and it was just like everything that she said was just so good. And one of the things that she just talked about, and something that I, was just thinking, like, I want to lead into the next, creator meeting that we have is just talk about creativity, and like. Well, our creativity started when we were kids, right?
Right.
So, like, when you were bored, like, think about when was the last time you've been bored.
Right.
But you remember when you was a kid, you was bored. You just,
just do something.
You just do stuff, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And she was just talking about how, like, her kids one day, she would force her kids to be really bored. Mm-hmm. And, like, one day, like, her kids, like made a swimming pool in their backyard. And she was like, oh, this is really cool. This is like, She's like, this is what I wanted, but also you guys are gonna kill yourselves, so get out of it.
Yeah, like chill, but really good job.
Literally, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where, like, one of the energy that I want to encapsulate here is, like, when people are you're bringing things that you already been sparking, right? Even if you haven't had anything, while you're here, I want something to spark in your head.
Absolutely.
And then I want to nurture that, right? And then I want that excitement to keep carrying you on throughout the weeks.
Yeah.
And you know, that's how like I get excited about stuff. Is like when I'm hanging out with my friends, I'm like, I hear you working on a script. Like you tell me about it, like, oh, all right, let's do a read next week. You know what I mean? Like I like that, like that. I want that excitement that you get, like that organic creative excitement that you get when you're a kid.
Yeah.
And she said this crazy statistic, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, is that she said there was a study done. I can't remember the exact university that did it, but they studied a group of kids, and they tested them on like so like there's a certain test you could do to see how much of a creative genius you are, right? So from the ages of like 3 to like 8 or 10, like kids, like literally like 85% of kids were creative geniuses.
Oh, wow.
Right? But by the time you hit from like 10 to like 15 or 14, that number drops down to 35%.
That's crazy.
And you know the reason? You know what happened? What was the reason for that drop? School.
School fucked it all up.
School is the reason.
So the biggest thing that fucked up schools in general. So it wasn't always like this. Like, yeah, the number was slightly going down, but I believe this didn't really happen until like maybe the 70s or 80s, maybe. 70s or 80s, maybe even 60s. But like what changed that and started fucking kids up in schools and stuff like that was standardized testing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about on standardized testing. Oh my god.
Yeah,
They're not even accurate.
I mean, bro, I was LD or learning disability throughout my entire like from kindergarten to like 8th grade, and that's just because they didn't offer it in like freshman and all that stuff. So like
That's why.
I went through my entire grade school thinking that I was just stupid. Like I was just dumb because I couldn't learn the way these kids
crazy.
learn.
Yeah.
So like
That's terrible.
the way that we teach our children, like me and Stephanie are most likely going to homeschool our kids. We're not.
I think that's amazing.
I'm pretty sure that we're not going to
Absolutely.
go the school route just because things are too fucking weird.
Yeah,
They are.
it is too weird.
They are.
It's just way too just not what we want to have. Our like we want to change the reality of their life, you know, and the only way to do that is to just like they're at school for 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day. Like
they
that's
spend
most
a
of their
lot more
life.
time at school than at home.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I don't want these little badass kids and dumb teachers teaching them,
Yeah.
you know, things
Bullshit.
that are not.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just taking away creativity and, you know, their ability to think.
And that's the thing that she was talking about, how standardized testing, like, it's like, okay, so when standardized testing was created, it changed the way they taught in general. Because before they were teaching them things, but it was also a big emphasis on your own processing of things, right? So like, you're not trying to figure out the answer yourself. You're trying to remember the answer that was told to you.
Dog.
So that's the big part of being human beings,
Honestly.
how we were able to evolve. We were only able to evolve because of creativity, because we had to figure it out on our
Absolutely.
own, right? And so like when you just try to get someone to remember or answer, okay,
Right, just parrot it back.
just think about how you learned anything organically that you taught yourself, right? You didn't remember or answer. You fucked up
Literally.
multiple times.
multiple times before you figured out
created-
whatever the answer was.
Yeah, you created your own definition and what it means to you. Or
Right.
whatnot.
Big
So,
thing with drawing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, that's why I was saying, like, I was like, whoa, I actually like drawing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gauged a lot more from you
Mm-hmm.
or whatnot, and not just having someone over your shoulder trying to tell you, or like being in your own head, but really just you and a pen and
Mm-hmm.
a paper, just drawing. And we kind of drew anything. Some days we come in, they was just like, draw whatever.
And that's good that they had it like that, because
Yeah.
she even mentioned how she had a kid. So her husband, he's an artist, like he's So she's not like creative in the sense that she can draw stuff. She could make things, but like she's a creative thinker. And I loved how like she just talks, like you can tell, like that's one thing when people say they're not creative. I hate that because we all have it.
Yeah,
We're all
we all have our own thing, our own niche things that we're into.
Exactly. And so like, you know, she was talking about her kid hated art class, and I'm thinking like that should be the favorite class. But you know, the kid was just talking about how like, okay, we would all go in there and draw the same thing, but it's like it should be more of like just draw whatever you want.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the thing, like
especially for our art class,
right?
Like,
you know, like how did that, the fact that standardized testing even fucked up art class,
literally,
right?
It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of the times, and even now in college, a lot of the times you're not doing something because you enjoy it or because you're trying to do something creative. You're doing it for a grade.
Right. Doing it for a grade. Right.
But we're not. And it's really just caring, like even now standardized testing, like even though we don't have that in college anymore, but just that thing of just not doing something because you want it to be creative or it's because it's something that you want to put into the world, but just I need to do this so I can pass, so I can live and eat.
So
I don't really care how good or bad this is as long as he thinks it's good or she or whatever. Like that definitely takes away from the end result.
You know, I'm glad that you talked about homeschooling because I don't know if I ever have kids, but if I definitely have kids, I think I definitely would like take my own learning in their own hands and in my own hands in the sense that like, yeah, of course they got to learn all the other stuff, but like I think like, you know, it just empowering, like when you let your kids figure out who they are while teaching them things is the best thing. Also too, like a lot of people don't even spend time with their kids.
Right, man. That's it's dude. Having kids at this age, at this time. I mean, I guess this is when everyone has kids, but it's such a weird concept to think about. Like I have your mind in my hands. I am responsible for what you think, for how you think, for how you think about yourself, how you think about the world. Like when you know that you have that, like you have to do everything that you can do, even if it's against the status quo. Like you have to do those things, man. And it's shit is crazy.
That's awesome that you're thinking about that and you and your wife are considering that stuff, because that's amazing. Like, and you know, I mean you have this, you probably think about it, like you're just thinking about like, if I like, what would I do for me? What would I do for little Joelle?
Yeah, man.
You know, and
I think it's beautiful that you're putting that way of approaching parenting or not, because a lot of parents kind of try to input themselves into their kids, and they don't realize that their kid is a completely different person from you. Like, they're gonna have their own opinions, beliefs, personality, and a lot of parents, when that don't align, that creates a lot of dissonance between. So it's beautiful that you're thinking about that right now, and it's a way you can't avoid all trauma, but you can avoid
you can avoid a lot of them.
Right. You know, there's
they'll come out okay.
Right, there's character development, and then there's other things. You know,
right.
But yeah, that's amazing. Well, shoot. So I think this definitely went longer than I wanted to. But usually, if it goes by like 30 minutes is more. But if it's 40, whatever, who cares? We're having a good time.
We're just talking.
We just shooting the shit. You know what I mean? So, but I'll have to ask you a question. And so I'm gonna tell you the answer to the question from my own, because it's a personal question. Okay. But what I like to ask every new person: what is a 3-month goal of theirs, and what is their 6-month goal? So to answer that, just to kind of give you some time to think, my 3-month goal currently is to finish this documentary that we're working on, a community documentary that we're working on. That's one of my 3-month goals. And then my 6-month goal is to get 2 more cinematography films under my belt by the end, within 6 months.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah. So how about you?
My 3-month goal, I want to finish these 2 scripts that I'm working on. Okay. And my 6-month goal, I want to write a feature.
Oh, let's go. Big talk. I like that. And Joel, do you want to share? I know, it's been a while since our last time I asked you this question, but I don't know if they still are in the same ballpark.
No, I think it's the same thing. My 3-month goal is I want to act more. I want to try to hone that skill and just be better at acting in front of people and not be so in my head about what you perceive of what I'm doing. And that's something that I really want to break that barrier, because I think that's holding me back from doing a lot of things. And then 6-month goal, I think that I would love to implement a voiceover thing here. Like I would love to work with, God, I forget his name. Kazari, bro. His voice is so
immaculate,
so perfect. And just with a little bit of coaching, dude, I would love to just kind of just be a voiceover duo with him and voiceover whatever we can find, whatever business we can find. I would love to just go with him, because he's got such a deep voice that I don't have. Yeah. And with me and him, there's such a wide scope.
Wide just the
range
two of
of
you
work
guys could
that
do.
we can do, and I really want to try to get that going.
Yeah, man, and that's one of the things that I'm definitely going to push for to make sure that's happened, because like your energy that you're bringing into the space is so vital for me. So I really appreciate you coming in, and like I one thing like I want to just kind of throw out, like Joel is married. Not married. You're not married, are you?
I am. Yeah.
He's married. He's
8
got
years.
kids. You know what I mean? So he has 2 daughters, right?
Dude, yeah.
2 little daughters. He's making a commitment. He had a meeting with his wife. He was like, we gotta look.
It was a legit meeting, bro. Like we sat down and I was like, listen, babe, I need this. I need, because I feel like something is missing and I know exactly what it is. I am not creative. I'm not doing shit with myself except going to work and coming home. I love coming home, but I hate going to work.
Yeah.
So I need something else. I need something towards my eventual goal. I know I don't want to work in the hospital. I need to start working on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, like, listen, I'll give you some claps.
Yes, please.
Because
for recognizing that.
We are adults, and the world likes to take all of our joy from us. Yes, but capitalism, I'll say that. Capitalism likes to take all our joy from us.
Uncle Sam likes to come in and take his share.
Literally. And it's like, so the fact that you did not give up, you found a way, you took the time to have a hard conversation with your spouse to talk about your needs, and to put your creativity, in a place that even when, because what we do when we grow, when we get more responsibility, kids, we put ourselves in the back burner until we really burn out. Right. And
Absolutely.
And so like the fact that you're challenging yourself to do that, I commend you for doing that.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I kind of want to go to your point about, I had a question. So you kind of said that you kind of, when you're acting, you felt like you were more of like acting for what the director or whoever it is, what they thought of the character. So I'm kind of struggling with that right now as a beginner actress. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the times I'm trying to, when I get into character, I'm not seeing the character for who I think the character is, but more of like, oh, what does my professor think this character is? So I can get a grade. Right. So how do you like what's your process with that?
I'll let you know when I find out, because that's something like, that's real. So it's so different when you're in a vocal booth. Like if I'm in a voiceover booth and somebody gives me a picture of a character and they're like, go crazy, do whatever you want to do. Even if they have a preconceived notion of what it is, I'm in the booth and I'm solely by myself. There's nobody observing me other than like somebody listening, but nobody's actually watching my performance. So in the vocal booth, I'm just free to be myself. I'm so free to be like, if this is what I think this character is, this is what he's going to be. And that's just what it is. But it becomes something entirely different when you got a sound guy over here, you got this guy over there, you got this person back here, you got this person with a clipboard. Like so many people come into the play, but then it's like, why can't I turn my brain off and pretend like I'm in the booth, pretend like I'm by myself, pretend like nobody is watching me? When I start off that way, like whenever we did our thing, when I start off thinking that way, it helps me just totally forget. And then once I become aware of people and I feel that idea start to creep in, it's something that, like, I feel like I try to just put myself back in the booth, put myself back in a space where I'm alone, where that director isn't there. Those people aren't there. Even the people that I'm talking to, they're not there. Just for that moment until I feel like I'm immersed in the scene, and then I feel like I'm like really here, and then I will look at you in the face. Then all of you will be part of this scene. But once I feel like I have perfected everything is tight, everything is really good, and I feel like that's been my approach, but I only have one way to test it out, and that's being here. Being here with Dave, because what I've always done in the past, I don't think that acting, that I can say that I've acted with the stuff that I've done, just because it wasn't film, it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't funny, it wasn't anything. It was just cut and dry, really like automotive stuff and like really shit that just doesn't have,
32 miles per hour,
things that don't have like any type of substance. So like, I think just with, I felt like I went on a rant there. I don't know.
No, I think really answered my question with that. So thank you.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you guys are able to learn from each other and talk about your experiences. That's the only way we learn
Absolutely.
is talk about like our processes, our mistakes.
And doing shit.
Yeah. So, I think that's a good time for us to start rapping. So, as the music comes in slowly, thank you for listening to GR-MiFi's Creator Cast. I just want to say, if you took the time to listen to today, thank you. Share with a friend. If you're a creative person and you want to hang out with some cool black people and some brown people, come down to GR-MiFi, get interviewed, tell us about your goals, and let's get some shit done.
Let's get it.
Once again, Faith, thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Sharing your story, being vulnerable about what you're working on, what's inspired you. Joel, thanks again for
anytime
for setting in and being a part of this conversation. Does you guys want to have any closing remarks as we roll out?
Oh, you want to say something?
No.
Okay, closing remark.
Yeah.
Live your life because no one else
Period.
can. Just you. Live your life just because of that.
Yeah,
That's my closing remark right
Come on,
there.
Joel, come on.
I like it. No, bro, that was awesome. You think I can top that, bro?
No, you can't.
Absolutely
no,
not.
I want to believe in you, but that's okay. But this has been the Creator Cast. I'm your host, David. Until next time, we out.